What are some of the professions that are slowly dying? Sewing machine technicians. The two older gents that service mine are amazing, been doing it most of their lives. They're lovely people and extraordinarily knowledgeable, but they're wanting to retire and there's no one to take on their business. They've tried to find apprentices but no one is interested despite them being in pretty high demand. The precision engineering in my industrial and domestic machines is extraordinary and it makes me so sad that if they go wrong I might never find anyone to fix them.
Up until a couple years ago I was a cobbler. It was my favorite job I ever had. When I left they shut it down. They also sell shoes and boots there, because it takes quite a long time to teach someone the skills.
Not sure why you put NSFW, that profession will only die out with humanity itself.
Video player repair people.
Every single person/profession who got replaced by an answering machine. If you were stupid enough to call here and waste your time and energy, please press 1. God, I hate these.
I can't think of the last time I saw a watchmaker workshop. I used to see 2 to 3 in every town when I was younger.
Door-to-door salesman, that's why my mom is depressed.
Artisans of various type. I'm Italian and my country is full of artisans and artists that can't just survive with the income of their product selling. The only few that are surviving are guided by young entrepreneurs that use internet and social media to export abroad. In this way we're losing a lot of traditional workers and works, and here in Italy it's actually a problem.
Not exactly dying, but it's losing its prestige, being a teacher.
Photo lab technician. I've worked in a few different photo labs, and with the move to digital there really isn't a need for people who work with film.
Journalism is on its knees. It failed to adapt in the last 20 years and they're hoping there will be a revival like vinyl. Source was a journalist and replaced with free graduates who provided content over quality to get bylines.
Movie theater projectionist. I wouldn't say dying so much as dead. TLDR. Digital projection made the projectionist obsolete within just a few years. This post is a little on the long side for anyone who is interested in how this profession became obsolete. Prior to the conversion to digital in the 2010s, the true movie theater projectionist was already mostly obsolete. Most multi-screen theaters started using a platter system in the 1980s. This allowed the multiple reels of a movie to be assembled into one really long reel which could be played from start to finish without any action from a human. This eliminated the need for a dedicated projectionist since just about anyone could be trained to thread the film through the projector and press start. Of course, this had a negative impact on equipment maintenance and presentation quality. But it saved a fair chunk of money since dedicated projectionists usually belonged to a union and were paid much more than other theater staff. Still, you needed a human to build up the movie, assemble the reels, and tear down the movie, disassemble the reels, and a person had to thread the projector and periodically check it to make sure there were no problems. I can tell you from personal experience that cleaning up a thrown or tangled film print is one of the most frustrating and time-consuming things to deal with. Through the early 2000s, the theater industry was slowly starting the process of rolling out digital. It proceeded very slowly as technology was improved. By the mid to late 2000s the technology had improved to the point where a 2048 x 1080 resolution projection system was roughly comparable to the quality of the average 35mm release print. This started the transition, but was mostly confined to a few screens in the biggest theaters. Around this time studios started to release digital 3D movies. At first it was just a handful of releases, with mixed results. Then Avatar was released in 2009 in 3D and it totally changed the game. The success of Avatar in 3D, in part due to the upcharges, made many movie theaters realize they were leaving money on the table by not being able to show 3D. This resulted in the first big wave of conversions where theaters were racing to get a couple 3D-capable auditoriums. Within a year or two the studios started seeing the cost savings in not having to produce 35mm, so they entered into agreements with movie theaters to help fund the full conversion to digital via payments called virtual print fees. Essentially they paid the theater for the cost savings of not having to produce 35mm prints, about $1,000 per print. By about 2012 the conversion had accelerated to the point that it was now an existential choice to convert or go out of business. By around 2015, the number of 35mm prints for any given movie had decreased to no more than a dozen or so, with many movies not having any. Today, the average movie theater projection system is completely automated. It requires no human action besides turning on equipment in the morning and turning it off at night. Working on the digital equipment is more like working on a computer than a film movie projector. Today, the only place you will find projectionists is a handful of repertory theaters which are playing film prints from a vault, either a studio or private collection. And there are a handful still working in Hollywood and handling the projection for the few directors who still shoot on film. As someone who spent 25 years working in movie theaters, I understand the nostalgia for people who appreciated the art of film projection. As a theater manager, until 2 months ago, I greatly appreciated the flexibility and simplicity that came with the conversion to digital. As a movie watcher, I really appreciate the consistency of presentation from digital. No more prints with scratches and dust spots.
Shoe shiners, cobblers, tailors. The knife sharpener guy that used to drive around neighborhoods sharpening housewives' knives. Door-to-door encyclopedia salesman or vacuum cleaner salesman.
Bookbinders. I always wanted to become one, but it's all done by machines now.
Elevator operator.
English teaching in Asia. No money in it anymore.
Airline desk attendants who help you reschedule your missed flight. Some airlines now have mobile apps that let you book your own flight and even divert to a different airport. They'll show you which ones are available and your choice will immediately go into their computer system. And chances are, if you have a basic knowledge of which airports are where in their transportation options, you'll do a better job than them.
Realtors. They think a lifetime of lobbying for ridiculous laws to make them relevant will protect them now. Their day of reckoning is coming. The industry is ripe for disruption.
I work in radio and it's definitely radio.
Telephone sanitizer.
Machinists. More advanced CNC machinery is being created and becoming more cost-effective each day. Can make hundreds of parts in the time it takes someone to make one.
Travel agents.
Toll booth cash collector.
Blacksmiths and movie hire places.
Welders. The average age of most welders today is in the mid to late 50s. Literally everything made out of metal that we use in day-to-day life has crossed paths with a welder before it gets to you, and yet here in the UK we are short of 36,000 welders. The pay is good, but it's a dirty job. Kids just don't want to do it, so when a welder retires it hits a business hard. Society can't function without them though.
Land surveyors. In my state, USA, there were stats put out a few years ago that there were about 2,600 licensed surveyors in the state, and about 40% of those were above the age of 60. It's an incredibly important field, but no one talks about it as a career when you're in high school. Depending on which sector you get into, you can make the same amount as civil engineers would, but with way more job security.
As a Red Letter Media fan, sadly I've witnessed time kill off one of the most honorable professions in the world. VCR repairman.
Factory workers in general. Their jobs can be and currently are being automated, which is cheaper and faster for companies. Also salespeople. Real marketing is done through reviews online and general reputation for the product these days, and most sales happen online. In-person sales just aren't prevalent in today's world. Basically, if your job can be done more efficiently and at lower cost for companies, you've got to consider having a backup plan in case it goes south for you.
Any transactional work is being automated, like processing invoices, etc.
Accordion players.
Parking lot attendants and toll booth operators. Went to a doctor's office with paid parking the other day and was shocked that the only way out was via an attendant. Feel like it's become one of several options, with machines as the more common option.
Druid, rogue dual class.
Vacuum salespeople.
May your day be filled with joy and happiness. And please remember to subscribe to Upvote for the best quality content every day.